Well, hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hi, Allie. How are you?
Hi, Andrea. I'm great. Thank you for being here with me tonight. I'm really always happy to be have you as a guest or be on your show or
Yeah,
whatever. So thank you for coming,
you're a wonderful
especially
person.
especially after already just being on another show. I mean, and working all day.
And working all day. Yeah.
Really, I'm
But
gonna
this,
have to get you a tape.
as soon as you said you wanted to have a conversation about this, I was like, oh yeah, bring me
Yeah,
in. Bring me in.
good, good. Thank you. So, um, a little background for our viewers. Andrea was the first person that I met here on YouTube. She was a reader. I used to listen to her all the time. Hello, San. And my husband and I had been sitting around for a long time and lamenting. And so we listened to Andrea. We felt so much better, and then we had her do a reading for us as well. And uh, from the very beginning, Andrea has always been one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
She makes me always feel so special, and I love her dearly. So, if anybody's here that hasn't, they probably already have because you have a lot more subscribers than I do. But if you haven't seen the Lilac Lantern, um, please go over to the Lilac Lantern and see
Oh,
Andrea there because
thank
she's
you.
fabulous. And she does lots of collaborations
Hmm.
with Scott and with Debbie and with Linda G and Sterling. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and Nancy Jean and yourself.
Yes, that's right. And Nancy Jean and myself. And sometimes we bring in Renee. And thank you for coming, Renee. Thanks to everybody who's here. Sending a lot of love to all of you.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that we have had a lack of in at least the United States, but maybe it's the entire world. I don't really know. Um, we have a lack of compassion. We have a lack of understanding. We have become so jaded. It's easy to become jaded because we have not had things going our way, let's say, for a long time. And certainly with COVID, that's locked all of us down. And, nobody really knew all the answers to that disease. We still don't know all the answers to that disease. I did read, I heard today, is Canada now 70% vaccinated, at least one vaccination? Is that what I heard?
Well, the numbers are getting better, and I myself was able to get my second shot today.
Good,
So,
good. Oh,
yeah.
wonderful. Okay. That's great. I was so happy when I heard you had your first one, but you got your second one. That's
Yeah.
great. Some of us here are going to have to probably get some boosters coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay. I don't care. That's fine.
Mhm.
I'll do it. I'll do it. So I'm glad you did, dear. It made me so happy because I think it was Justin talking about how well everybody had embraced it and gone out and done
Mhm.
it. So
Mhm.
I'm happy for that. I'm
Yeah.
very happy. Yeah. So anyway, the first person I thought of that I'd like to have with me to talk about this topic was Andrea. Andrea is a very compassionate, kind person. We do our monthly manifesting either on her channel or my channel, and we talk a lot about loving animals and loving the planet and lots of other things. And now I just feel it's really important for us to talk about compassion, empathy, and understanding with our fellow human beings, even people that we may not particularly care for because they are so diametrically opposed to who we are.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I had I saw a lady yesterday, and she had on a shirt that said Trump 2Q 2Q, and
Oh,
I had
funny.
a hard. I was very pleasant to her. I was very nice, but it was not easy to be. And so my feeling is that compassion takes work. It
Oh,
isn't. It isn't something that we could. Oh, no problem. It's something we're so judgmental. We all are about different things, and it's very difficult to be compassionate sometimes, as an easy thing, especially when you're upset or angry with the way
and
people
I
are.
think compassion, it's not just equal across the board.
Right.
You can be very compassionate when you see a kitten in the rain, but you
Mm-hmm.
may not be so compassionate to a coworker or something
Right.
like that, right? If they drive
Absolutely.
you nuts, or as you said, like the
Yep.
Republican and
Yep.
Democratic sort
Right.
of thing. For me, I think because I'm a pretty strong empath, I'm able to feel what someone is going through, even if I don't agree with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a sense about why they're that way.
Right. Right.
But again, I'm not perfect, and I
Right. Some
like,
days it's like, right.
yeah, yeah,
Makes it hard to,
exactly.
yeah, it's hard to be compassionate or empathetic
But
to
it
somebody.
feels so much better when you are.
Oh, very definitely. It's actually the Dalai Lama, when he brings it up, he says, the more our mind is compassionate, the better brain function we have.
Mhm.
It gives you inner strength, self confidence, and reduces your fear.
Yeah,
All those things, if I can have all those things,
yeah.
my life is going to be great.
It's like
And
it's
go
a
ahead.
positive energy when you are
Right,
compassionate and have empathy versus combative or angry or judgmental.
right.
Because then you just draw in all that negativity, and then you get caught up in it.
Absolutely. So, Tammy, your empathy has been off the charts for animals. Well, you're not alone. I have a really hard time when I see an animal dead in the road. Oh my God, it just really bothers me so much. And maybe because they're so non judgmental
Well,
and they're so loving.
they're
And
innocent. They
they're,
are
yeah,
love. They are only love.
they are
Animals.
only love. Yeah. And it makes it easier to love them, don't you think?
Yeah.
Easier to be compassionate for that person. Yeah.
So if I ever see one on the road or something, I always just say "bless your soul," so that at least
Right.
one person loved them,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And
Yep. Very true. The other thing you could say, I say it because it's a Native American same thing, is aho. That's what they say when they see an animal in the road. So I say that a lot, even though I'm not Native American. But I just really like that whole idea. So
and that's
compassion.
a great way. Like, being around animals is a great way to start learning compassion and empathy, because they
Absolutely.
really are innocent and loving
Hmm.
and non-judgmental.
Right.
And I think people who grew up with pets might have been able to tap into these feelings a little bit, versus maybe people who didn't get to grow up with pets
Right. Right.
and know what that feels like
Yep.
to be around something so gentle and sweet.
I did not realize, however, when I was doing a little bit of research, that empathy and compassion is usually hardwired by our biology.
Mm.
And a lot of it has to do with how we were also brought up. If our mothers and fathers, our caregivers, were compassionate and kind to us, it's easier for us to be that way. But after I read that, I thought to myself, well, we could also be born, our biology says that we have a weight issue, or we could have a weight issue, or that we have diabetes, or that we have all these other things. But we can make a conscious choice to change that and become more compassionate, more understanding, just like you could if to take care of disease or propensities, to be alcoholics or smokers or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you have the choice, even as a child,
Hmm.
and obviously as an adult. If you are brought up in a home of negativity and abuse or whatever it might be,
Right.
you can follow in that path, become that kind of person, or you cannot, and you can
Right.
become
Yeah.
compassionate and loving. And you do have a choice.
Yep.
You have a
You
choice.
do. I understand this, Chris. Thanks for writing. Um, I, I understand so well. Um, and the other part of it is that we've been home so much
Yeah.
that going out, it's like we're being bombarded by negativity or just people again. I don't know. You must also be a pretty strict empath, I would think, if you're feeling that, you know. Um, but I really.
It took me a long time. It was only within the last few years, maybe,
Mhm.
where I realized, um, or I've thought of putting up like a shield around myself, an empath
Mhm.
shield, so that I can observe and not absorb. Because in the past, if I watched a video and it was animals being hurt or people or whatever, I'd be in bed all day crying for the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I can, well, I
Oh,
don't
good.
watch it, but
Right.
I,
Right.
my empath, I sort of think of this invisible bubble that I'm in, or something like that.
Right.
And there's a protective layer so that I don't absorb, because empaths absorb,
They do. Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
it's trying. So if you're new to being an empath, or it's overwhelming right now and it's getting stronger, just try to learn about keeping a boundary,
Right.
and when to put it up and when not. Maybe you need it up all the time right now if you're sensitive, right?
Yep. The other thing I think we've talked about before on other discussions was, if you're out and you're feeling uncomfortable, maybe you could just jump in the shower. The ionization of the water can get rid of some of that, or you could smudge, or simply just spend some time outside feeling more grounded. It is really difficult for empaths. Absolutely. Because you feel like a sponge. And then you have people that are like vampires. They work on the energy and sucking it out of you, and you don't even know it.
Well, the other day I had to mentally emotionally prepare myself, I should say, to watch the testimony of the officers from January 6th.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what to expect, but I thought, okay, I need to emotionally prepare myself to watch this so that I don't get caught up in it.
Right.
I can watch it, and even still, very emotional.
I know.
Because
it was so emotional. Yeah.
But I mean, so there's an example. You can feel compassionate, and anyone really watching those police officers could feel compassion. Yep. But then to turn around, how do you feel it for those who were doing those actions?
I know. It is very difficult because you're trying not to hold a grudge, hold the negativity in, because the only person you're hurting is yourself, not them. They don't care. They don't even feel it. And so, yes, I agree with you. How do we be compassionate with those people?
So one way that I try to think about it is I feel very sorry for those people who were attacking the Capitol, because they're not enlightened, or
Right.
they're not aware, and I feel very sad for them that they're not enlightened. Now that doesn't mean I agree with what they did.
No, I know.
They should be punished.
Yeah.
That kind of, I'm not letting it go. It's just, I wish they were enlightened. I wish,
Yeah. I remember after 9/11, I don't think it was maybe 2 days later, Richard Gere got up and they were having some kind of a discussion and having people talk or something. I saw it on television, and he said, he's a Buddhist, and he said, we really need to forgive these people for what they did. Boo, everybody's booing and everything. And my son, who isn't necessarily a spiritual person, but he said it was too early for him to say that. He felt that there wasn't enough time. But yes, that's
maybe it's the word forgive, because
maybe
some
that's
people
it.
feel forgive is like the other person doesn't have to atone for their ways.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
Well, we'll forgive them and we'll forget it. No.
No. Yeah. Even people who go in and they forgive murderers of their children or their spouse or whatever. It isn't. We're not going to forget that. But in order for me to move on, I have to be forgiving and compassionate that way.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult. I can't. That would be something I can't say I know what I do. I mean, I don't even want to think about it. But it's out there. But yeah, it's important for us. So Lynn says, and Lynn's got a very good point. How do you take the anger and change it to compassion for the insurrectionists? Very good question.
Well, one, addressing anger. Anger is a negative vibration, and it's on a level that they are on, and you don't want to be.
Correct. You're bringing yourself down.
Down.
Right. Yep. Very true.
Right. So that's not good for you. It also adds to the bad energy in the, on the earth, or in the ether.
Yep. That's true.
So you're not doing it on purpose, but you're almost adding to the more negative, and it's obviously an instant reaction, right?
Right. Yep.
Um,
There is an injustice done.
yeah.
That's why I think to myself, you know, they're saying that what is it? Call it cancel culture, you know, and I'm saying there are consequences to our actions, and they need to be taken care of. That's why the January 6th committee had to do what they had to do. We need to know what happened. But when I saw um, Adam and Liz Cheney, the only two Republicans there that agreed to do it, crying, I knew right there they were enlightened people, even though I don't agree with them politically at all. And it made my heart skip a beat in a way, because two people out of how many? What, 200?
But wow, what an impact. Two
Yes,
people can make a difference.
they
Like,
can. They can.
right?
Yep, they can.
I think part of it is the word compassion also may have different meanings to people.
Yep,
Compassion doesn't mean you want to go and hang out with them and
right.
give them a hug and love them. It just
Uh-huh.
means,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't you feel sad for them that they behave like that? That their
Good
mind,
point.
their
Good point.
emotions, their
Uh-huh.
their enlightenment is so low
Mm-hmm.
that they
Mm-hmm.
behave that way. It to me, that's really sad.
It is sad. One of the what is it? Explanations of the word compassion is sympathetic pity.
Yes. There you
And
go.
and that actually
Yeah.
takes care of it, doesn't it? Because it's like, I'm sorry that you are so unable to grasp
Mhm.
what you've done.
Yeah.
And it says here, sympathetic pity for suffering and the misfortunes of others, or willingness to relieve suffering of another. So, you know, there are people, for instance, that are heroes because they even jump in to pull a dog out of the water that's drowning or whatever. There are people that will do things like that. Those people are completely compassionate people. They don't even give it a second thought. But here, empathy is feeling what the other person feels, and that's why the word empath is such a
Mhm.
strong word for those of us on the spiritual path. But there is a difference, obviously. And sympathy is, oh, poor you. And empathy is, I know how you feel. And really not like the old, oh yeah, I know how you feel, you know, in a slight way.
It's like
It's
walking a mile in their shoes. You can
right.
really understand how they feel and why they
Uh-huh.
whatever it is. Even if someone's feeling joy, I could feel their joy. I'm
Right.
an empath that way too,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. You could join in with the joy, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
I think
agree with you.
it's maybe these words, compassion and forgiveness and stuff. Those words might be tripping people up a little bit
I agree.
in feeling compassion
Hmm.
or feeling. It is. What did you say was sympathetic pity?
Sympathetic pity.
Really,
Yeah.
really great way of saying it. Yeah.
It is, yes. Because you're right. When we're talking about the insurrectionists, we're like, I'm sorry they were so dumb, you know, or you know, I feel bad for them because they don't understand or
I
whatever.
feel bad that
Yeah.
they were fooled
Hmm.
or uneducated enough to know
Right.
better or
Right.
angry enough to agree with it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's no good either.
There's that's why I believe that it's important to go to the top, because I think a lot of people really believe they were being told to do it and that it would be okay if they did it. And I know there's other things that have happened in life where pity and or compassion is needed. I think the biggest compassion I have at this current time is for these doctors and nurses who are working COVID units, people coming in and they weren't vaccinated and they're angry they don't, and now they want the vaccination and they can't have the vaccination, but they're angry. But they're not angry at the source that told them not to get it. They're angry at the doctor and the nurses because one guy I remember, he was saying last night on the news, don't tell me I have COVID. I don't have COVID. There's no such thing as COVID, over and over again. It's like you can't fix stupid, and so sympathetic pity is that really that's what these doctors and nurses have to do. And I just feel so bad.
And that's why I wish them enlightenment, because
Yeah.
don't you want everyone to
I
be
do.
more enlightened?
I do. I do.
I don't mean
but
just you, but I mean everyone. Like,
no, I agree. Yeah.
as soon as they're enlightened, they're not going to say wild things like that.
Yeah. Let's hope, right? Yeah. So Roland says, isn't it empathic pity? Well, it could be. If you're an empath, but
see, to me, I would say I am tapping into a little bit. I don't want to go too close to those people, but I'm trying to sense why they did it.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And there's different reasons for different.
There are different reasons. A lot of them really wanted to do it. They were angry.
But the base answer, all of them, no matter which one it was, is fear.
Oh, I agree.
Not one of them had a foot in love when they did that.
That's correct. That's correct. And the fact that they scared so many people, by saying, I want to hang this person. And, now they can say, oh, well, we weren't really going to do that. But when you're in the heat of the moment, you can't, you can't do it. And Kevin's right. We're all one collective energy, and we are connected to the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so it's important that we send these people love and compassion. And actually, even though this is a hard thing for many of us to say, we need to shower 45 with lots of love and compassion, because if we send negative, then what we're doing is we're just bringing more negative back to us. Now that you'd have to be almost a saint to do, and I understand that.
You could try, if you like the word enlightenment or something else, whatever word is easier for you to say, that stems out of love, and is better. Anger and hate towards someone only makes more.
Yeah, it's true. Connie says it's called contempt, and following through is the result. All of you are, and it's understandable that many of you are angry and want retribution. I think that is something we naturally try to pull in.
We're humans. We have these feelings.
Yeah.
And maybe as you move along in your ascension and all this, maybe that those anger feelings only last for a little tiny bit, and then you feel the compassion, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
The dial moves a little faster for you.
But as I said, it is something that you absolutely must work on. It's almost like when you're in a relationship in your marriage, you just don't slide through many years of being married to somebody without working on it, or you wouldn't be together anymore. I mean, there's just no way. Yeah. The same thing is the relationship with yourself. Are we self-compassionate? And everything does start with the self. So if we're self-compassionate, we may not love everything we do, but we say to ourselves, I didn't know better at that time, and now I know better, I'll try better. Or I was having a bad day, I got really mad, and tomorrow I'm going to start fresh. That's about really thinking about what it is that you're doing. Yeah. No, I know, Connie. I know you're not angry.
No, Connie, Lisa says sorry, she's not a saint, and Chris Martin says justice. So again, I just want to reiterate.
No, we're not all saints.
That sending these people, even the big orange himself, wishing him enlightenment, doesn't mean you don't want him to pay for his crimes. That's not what it means. It's not a free pass. It's and I use Michael Cohen as the example because I think he's a perfect one, especially in this situation. This guy was doing really bad things for a bad person, allegedly for entertainment purposes only.
Right. Yeah.
And he saw the light. Whatever clicked in his brain or his enlightenment, whatever it was, and then he started to produce evidence against the orange. Right? Now but he still went to jail, right? He's still paying for his crimes. It's not a get out of jail.
No, it's not a get out of jail card free.
And yes, justice, of course, justice.
Yeah. Right.
But not vengeance.
Right.
Justice can be dealt without vengeance.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I I didn't want to do this to criticize anybody out there, honestly. So I hope that you not Andrea and I, we both didn't want to do that. We didn't know. We're not criticizing.
And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Trust me.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm saying words I'm hoping to live by as well.
I understand. And I'm going to be working. I asked what everybody wanted me to work on next, and shadow is it. And shadow is something great to work on in order to find out why you are the way you are, or why you feel the way you are. So I'm going to be working to get that so that I can bring that to this audience as well. But yeah, no, we're not asking you to forgive and forget. We're not asking you not to be upset. No, that's not it. But to be a fully enlightened human being in this lifetime would be a great thing for many of us here.
What I'm hoping is that you don't live in anger.
Yeah.
Right? Because anger is a negative vibration, and that adds to the other negative vibrations we don't want. So
right.
What I'm hoping is that you can step into the love, and whatever word you could use towards them that you feel is just sharp enough in the love department.
Right. I'm annoyed. You can be annoyed.
100%.
Yeah.
Compassion just feels better. Whatever word you want to use, it'll make you feel better. It'll get that knot out of your stomach.
Absolutely. And MK Karen, I'm sorry to that your sister's son is dealing with the people that are because this shouldn't happen. This shouldn't have happened again, honestly. And I'm sure that your sister is worried about him because he's younger and she doesn't want anything to happen to him. I want to applaud him for his hard work. And I think that many people are going to end up not being healthcare providers. That's my fear. Not that I carry fear, but my worry is that people will say, I'm not going to be a healthcare provider anymore because people don't care. And we need as many compassionate healthcare providers as we can get. They're like angels on the planet, honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Chris says, pray for all. It's our only way forward. Well, nothing wrong with that. I agree with that. Not a big prayer person, but I do believe that sending positive energy, positive light, and healing for those who need it, all of us. And believe me, I have a really hard time myself being compassionate about certain things. So I don't want you to think that I'm.
Yeah, we're not.
No.
I'm sitting here on the top of the hill saying I'm better than
No.
I struggle too. Like I just had something in my personal life a week ago, and I was right there. It was one way or the other.
Right.
And I knew if I went this way, I would get consumed by it, and I would feed that other person with the negativity that they were hoping for. And I said, don't do it. And I held on tight, and I didn't engage, and I just sent them wishing them enlightenment, and it left me. It left me.
And it must have been very light for you after that.
Oh, like
feeling because you can't do anything about them. You could only do about you. And that's what you did. And good on you.
And again, that was a real test.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Teaching classes of kids that they're not kids, they're students doing research papers. And I had 49 students, and I had 29 submissions, and I had 4 that did it right. And I'm like this, because I don't want to get all pissy with anybody, but I want them to do well, and I want them to fix it. And, so at least I let them do that. I try to be compassionate to a point. I can't write the paper for them, and but I can put them on so no, you don't have to be a saint. And one of the other things that I love the Dalai Lama. He says 90% of our negativity process is our perception. Now, maybe that may not be true of January 6th. We are seeing people, though, with different perceptions, if you hadn't noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and they're not, and we see plenty of evidence that that wasn't true about what they're saying. But he also said happiness and satisfaction come from within, and our elements for that are compassion and human affection, and they can be developed in order to make us more enlightened people, feeling like we're.
So the good news is there's hope. Those people can
Oh,
change,
yeah.
and we can grow and get better too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else that I realized, of recent, and it really just let it go. Oh, did it ever feel good? Setting expectations or expecting others to be performing up here.
Mm-hmm.
And by performing, I mean, how they react to you or things in public or, whatever.
Uh-huh. Right.
You expecting them to be here, but they may only be capable of doing this.
Right.
Their enlightenment or their whatever it may be may only be here.
And it won't go any higher.
Frustrated every single time because you want them to be here. Once you realize they can, so we'll say the 45ers, whatever, they can only get this far because that's where they are right now. Right. They're in kindergarten and you're in college.
Right. With regard to your soul growth.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
right.
To be angry or frustrated, of course it makes sense. But if you kind of look through it through a different lens, it's like, oh, well, they can only go so far. I don't approve of it.
Right. Right. I actually had that issue with my children as a mother. I wanted them to be like me, not everything, but, outgoing and enjoying this, enjoying that. And they're not like that. And it took me a while to realize they're not little clones of me. They're their own people. And I can't have those expectations because I'll just disappoint.
You will be disappointed.
Yes. And they'll feel disappointing as well if you tell them so,
So we can't expect the 45ers or whoever the January 6ers to be up here yet.
No.
So that's why I can have compassion because they're only there.
Right.
Well, gosh, I sure hope that they get enlightened as soon as possible.
Right. Right. So and I really feel there's some indoctrination that's going on that went on. We are very susceptible to indoctrination. Obviously, look at other countries when they've had uprisings. People have been indoctrinated to do things that don't make any sense. Mm-hmm. There's even a story about the what's the name of it? It's an experiment that they were doing. And telling people that they had to keep giving electric shocks to people if they gave wrong answers. And this was done in the Milgram experiment is the name of it. And you can find it on YouTube. But this man, he comes in, he doesn't know this, and he's told, all right, you're going to ask questions, but when they give you a wrong answer, you have to shock them. And then you're going to go up, 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 up if they continue to give wrong answers. What he doesn't know is that the shock isn't really happening. And the person on the other side is going, like he's really being shocked. And the man continues because he was told by that person in charge that he needed to do that. So we do have these strange, and here's another thing that Chris mentioned, and this kind of has something to do with it. People sneaking over state line to get vaccinated because they don't want their friends to know.
Oh my goodness.
Because the opinion of somebody else matters more than their own. Yeah. So and then what's Sherry got? Tensions and emotions. Oh.
Yeah, I would say that, everyone's skin's getting a little thin right now.
We are getting thin skin.
Everyone's trapped in the house for a year and a half and, this and that and the other thing.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I agree.
But I would say, like, everything that happened on January 6th by those people, we're using them as an example, by the way. We don't have to keep talking about them, but was basically,
it's just easier to use that example, I guess. Yeah,
because it's so enormous and obvious.
Right. True.
Was all based in fear. All
Right.
of those people who are angry or whatever the heck they were doing, all based out of fear. Wouldn't it be better if they were based out of happiness and love?
I know. I know.
Because then that won't happen.
Right. You're choosing something that's totally opposite of that.
If they
And
were
yet,
happy, if they felt love and they were happy, they would never
right.
have done what they did
True.
on January
Yeah,
6th.
that's
Not
true.
one of them.
Yeah.
Not one of them would have
So
done.
they weren't self-compassionate and they weren't thinking. And
They
some of
weren't,
the people
yeah.
didn't, yeah, they said, "Oh, I didn't go inside. I just went to it," or whatever. And I think sometimes we think like a protest or something, and maybe they realize this is more than a protest. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, there might have been a few who were just,
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
fringes, or like there.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple of them that helped that police officer get back into the barricade.
Oh,
So,
that's good. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
at
Yeah.
least some of them.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think we need to look at people doing the best they can in the moment. Yep, we do. You're absolutely right. Give them credit for doing the best that they can. We do that also when we try to remember that our parents did the best they could when they raised us, despite the fact they probably didn't know how to be parents. No one taught them how to be parents, or they may have grown up in abusive parents in households, and then they had their own family. So I can bring that idea in and have a little bit of compassion. But at the same time, I do realize that there are some abusers, and I'm not suggesting people maybe embrace those people if that's what happened to them, because that's just horrible. Uh, oh,
Mm.
I understand,
Tough one.
Tish.
It's a
I
tough
understand. It is. Yeah, it is tough.
It's a tough one,
Yep,
especially when you feel your own safety
absolutely,
is at risk. So there,
absolutely.
I don't know if I have too much to say about that because I
Yeah,
understand what you're saying 100%. And how do you,
yeah,
you could say, I wish they would get enlightenment so that they would get the vaccine and this would go away faster and we're all healthy. You could say
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Doesn't mean you like them. You just wish that they see the light, you
Would
know?
be nice. Yeah, it would be nice. And I don't think actually I'm thinking to myself that's expectation, but I think it's more of a hope. It's a hope that these people
Yeah.
maybe could learn the lesson, because
Yeah.
what
You're
happens is
wishing
this.
for enlightenment. You're not expecting it. You're
No,
wishing it.
yep. It's what is it that Einstein said? Um, Idiocy or something like that is doing the same thing over and over again
Yeah.
and expecting a different result. Yeah, and
Insanity is doing something over and
insanity.
over
Yeah,
again and expecting a different
a
result.
different result. So if you could learn from this, even if were in it, and then I would feel more compassionate toward you or towards that person, because they sat back and they thought of it. A lot of us don't. I mean, there are times when I haven't done it either. Sit back and say, now I got to assess what that was all about so that I can do better next time. So, yeah.
And I think another thing to think about is leading by example.
Yep.
That has a lot of power and a lot of weight in your life and in the
Yep.
universe vibrations.
Yep.
If
Understood.
you don't yell at them and get angry at them,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
you're
That's right.
teaching who's ever watching you not to do that too.
Yep.
Right? To
That's right.
to
And I agree with you too, Sherry, here, because when you are lied to for a long time, you don't know what's true and what's not true. And that can happen with a relationship, or it can happen with politicians, or it can happen with your doctor, or whatever. If you're lied to, um, yeah, you have no way of knowing. And it's almost as though there are people that are propping up lies. If you have somebody propping up a lie as well, and agreeing with it, or saying, this is true, that's hard to, because you've got a support now, even though that support may not be right. So, oh, there's always a reason for things that happen. Oh, I agree with you 100%, Ron. And by the way, Ron's going to be on with me tomorrow. Everybody needs to come by and see Ron. Yay. And thanks to all the chat managers here tonight, and of course, all of you here. And all right, let's see. one of the things that I also found that actually I read this, and that's what led me to want to talk about it in total sum, was that compassion shines brightest when given in a world of distraction or a place where its application is not easy. And that reminds me of that elephant and those people that tried to that had been chained that we talked about on the manifestation. These people went into an area where there's people with guns and all kinds of stuff, and they were compassionate. They took this elephant off a chain, and they got the elephant out, and it took a lot for that. It took a lot for that elephant, to go in there and do that for that elephant, but they were using compassion. And the elephant was eternally grateful. So
yeah, I'm going to start crying.
I know. It's very sad, but it really does tell you that there are people that will do things that are not easy to do in the name of compassion. And I guess if I had a poster child for compassion, I would say that Mother Teresa would be that person. Who would go into the cities
Anywhere.
and
yeah and just in love, all she was in a state of love, right? Love, compassion, empathy, all those words, whatever words you want to use in that wheel. That's where she lived, in those vibrations.
Yeah. So she had to raise her own vibration in order to love and show compassion to other people who were really in a bad situation. Poverty. That there's even a name, there is even a group of people in India that are considered to be non-people. I don't know I can't think of the name. There was a documentary done on that. They have very low, they're like the lowest rung of social class. They all live in cardboard boxes, and you don't pay any attention to them. There's a name for this. I'll have to find it. But imagine that, being a non-person to somebody. Just really, I when I taught ethics, I would have students come on and talk about different ethical situations. And that one always got to me, because I can't imagine how flesh and blood human beings are not considered human by, the other group of people that live there. I don't know if this has changed. I don't think it has. I haven't heard that it had. But still, at the same time, did you know that India did decide that, is it dolphins? Dolphins are considered people.
Yes. Or like a really high life
form. Yeah.
That's my favorite animal, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh, they're so wonderful. You should go, if you get a chance, and get down to Florida or wherever, in the Bahamas or something, go swimming with them.
I swam with them in the open waters in Cuba. There was a huge area where they would come, and I was able to one or two that came around at that time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yes.
Wow. And did they talk to you? Did they have little...
They had some treats for them, like they lured them over with some fish or whatever.
Right.
And they swam around us and a little rub up on the cheek. So that was really nice.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I had heard about this, Aspie, that there was a new gamma variant. And actually, my daughter said something about a lambda variant. Now, if you know the Greek alphabet, that's like an L, and it's way down. I'm not sure if she heard that right, but I have heard of the gamma, because it's alpha, beta, delta, epsilon, alpha, beta, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, pi, rho, omicron, phi, chi, psi, omega. So, remember when we had the hurricanes and they ran out of names or something? They did that. But I guess they're jumping it. So if we didn't have an alpha variant, we had the delta. I don't know why we didn't have, unless they considered the alpha was the first one. I don't know. Did they call it that? I don't even remember if they did.
So there's another thing about setting expectations. and only going to be frustrated. If you have set an expectation that this lockdowns and this thing is all going to be done and dusted and everything's going to be hunky-dory by by the end of September or something, you're just setting yourself up for potential disappointment. So I personally have not set any expectations of when all of this is going to end and how many variants there will be and all this and that.
I haven't either.
I have got an open mind about it, and whatever, if we stay at home for another year, that's what it is. I don't have an expectation.
I feel the same way. I actually, when I first heard about this, I kind of got the impression that we were going to pretty much be out of commission, so to speak, till 2025. But if you told people that, and that's entertainment purposes only, it's just something I heard. If you told people that, there'd be a lot of people jumping out of windows, honestly, because, obviously for the violence that happens in the home and things like that. But, we're used to being out and about and free and that's very hard. But I agree with you. I was asked today if I wanted to do a class in person at the colleges that I work for. And I said, I don't think so, because I think this Delta variant will come along. They'll all be online again anyway. And I may be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, I certainly don't want that to happen.
Again, I hope everything's better tomorrow.
Absolutely.
But I also don't have that expectation. Like, I'm not going to get upset if it's not perfect tomorrow, because I'm not setting that expectation.
Right. Then you won't be disappointed.
Yeah. And it's just going with the flow.
Good for you. Because a lot of people, we all do it. We're going on a vacation, so we got all these expectations. I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to get a tan. I'm going to see this. I'm going to see that. And then you go and something happens and you're so disappointed. Whereas if you just go, with the flow, you know? Yeah. Those are the best parties too. Somebody calls you up and says, hey, we're having just having a spontaneous party. So much fun. No huge planning. And yet I know a lot of people don't feel comfortable with that. And that, everybody's different. Suzanne said, somebody let you go ahead of her. Sorry, I didn't see who in the beginning, but so you went ahead of somebody to get a vaccine, Suzanne? Is that what it was? Let me go back and see.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. So my nurse, when I got my vaccine, the second one, she says to me, I told her I was walking. I haven't been for a long time, but at the time I said I just spent the year walking and it was great. And she said, oh, I go swimming every day in Lake Washington, because I live near Lake Washington. And I said, Lake Washington? Oh, do you wear a wetsuit? No. And I said, oh. She said, I've done it now. This was in the winter. This was February when I had that done. And she said, I've gone every day now for like 60 days. And I'm like, I thought walking was good. Holy mackerel, lady, you got me totally blown away here. Yeah. I've heard of the people that, what are they call them, like the polar bears or something, and they go in the ice in the cold in the winter, but it's like one time and they come out and they, they're freezing. But
it'd be fun to do. I haven't done a polar bear. I mean, I'm in Canada and I've swam in cold water, but I don't think I've done an official polar bear swim. And I would like to say, compassion and empathy and all these kinds of things, they are really important to do for yourself as well.
Absolutely.
Because
you have to be compassionate for yourself
before you. We're often the most hardest on ourselves.
Yep.
That's and you have to remember that, you're doing the best you can. And with the tools that you have.
That's right.
And to give yourself a break.
Absolutely.
And don't judge yourself. Well, that's it. Just don't judge yourself.
Yep. And remember that, compassion shines brightest when given in a world of distractions, or where the application of being compassionate is the hardest. And again, those of you who weren't here in the beginning, I just want to re-say that the more our mind is compassionate, the better our brain functions. It gives us inner strength, self-confidence, and reduces fear. So there's really good things to gain from it for
It's only good.
yourself. Yeah.
Only good. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you did something wrong, or you whatever, yeah, then
we all
forgive.
make mistakes, we all embarrass ourselves,
Oh yeah.
whatever,
Oh,
you know.
absolutely. Yeah.
Just love yourself, step into love and say, hey,
Yep.
you did the best you could. It'll get
Oh,
better. You'll do better next time or whatever.
that's right. That's the name of them, the Untouchables. Thank you, Carmela. Yeah, they're the lowest caste in
Oh,
India. Yes, I don't even think you're supposed to talk to them. I don't think you're supposed to. I don't know. Yeah. Ooh, this is kind of neat. Connie says in her culture we take our turquoise to breathe after thunderstorms. Well, there you go. Rocks are always great to have for different things. Yes.
and laughter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people are saying laughter to me is number one.
Yep.
That's all
Absolutely. It is. But be compassionate. Um, be empathic if you can, empathetic, if you understand what someone is going through. And if you don't, if you've never been through that before, be kind. Just be kind. Because it really goes a long way.
Because there's a reason why the person did something.
Right. Yep.
What's the reason? Why did they do that? Why did they do something that was so awful?
Right. Right.
Why?
Yep.
And I'm not forgiving them or all that. It's just to figure out the why, to understand the why can maybe help you be more compassionate or send them enlightenment or wish enlightenment. Yeah.
Oh, Chris, this is great. Always start your day with a smile. Drives your kids crazy. Now you do it with friends. Yeah, somebody said, I remember my father, who was everything was dry. He'd say, start your day with a smile and get it over with. But, laughter, of course, absolutely. We all need it. It really helps us. Wow. So thank you, everybody, for being with us. And Andrea, my compassionate friend.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. What a lively chat. This was wonderful.
It was a wonderful chat. Thank you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you for moderating. Thank you for your thoughts. And again, I don't expect anybody to be a saint. I'm not one either.
Hey, we're all on a journey together.
We are. That's what I love the best about this community, that we're uplifting each other and we're providing each other with the compassion and understanding, which some days is hard to do.
Exactly. But you feel so much better when you can do it.
Absolutely. You sure do. Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks. Love and light to you. Tomorrow night, come and see Ron. He's a great guy. And have a good night.